So for this episode structure, we're gonna kind of like get into the nitty-gritty of the behind the scenes of our short film. The body was something that we worked really hard on. John and Justin came in and wouldn't have been possible without their help. But we're gonna talk about kind of the process from the inception of the idea to the execution, and then since it's come out.
The shots were very intricate. Holy shit, this is their first film and they're gonna do this crazy shot with the Ronin and the camera and all this stuff, and I'm like, what in the world is this? Which is pretty ambitious. This is good. I like this. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, the drone shot that we went back and got that goes across the water, that risky shot that made it us
Dude,
nervous.
you want to hear how we shot that?
That's impressive. That's another thing that I loved. I'm like, this is a simple concept, but there's things in there that are made for rewatching.
Yeah,
That's quite
That's a
impressive.
huge compliment.
That's quite impressive.
Welcome to Backseat Directing.
Where we talk about movies, TV shows, comics, and more.
We're your hosts,
Andrew.
and Aaron. Today we're with Justin and John.
We put out new episodes every Monday and Thursday.
And today we're talking about our short film, The Body.
3, 2, 1.
Action.
Still the only one.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to the two men who helped shoot our short film, The Body, and that is Justin and John.
Yeah, was that like a Boston accent? The baddie?
Yeah, it just came out.
So it's called The Body, like the human body.
Yeah.
But Aaron likes to be called a baddie.
Oh, bad.
And so for this episode structure, we're gonna kind of like get into the nitty-gritty of the behind the scenes of our short film. It's been on YouTube for a while now. You can check that out. I think it's pinned on our page. The body was something that we worked really hard on. John and Justin came in and wouldn't have been possible without their help. But we're going to talk about kind of the process from the inception of the idea to the execution, and then since it's come out, our family's reaction and so on. But before we get into that, I want to kind of bring up the elephant in the room, which is that only one of us is not wearing a hat.
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
I believe the memo was sent out well in advance.
So I didn't,
You got the memo?
yeah.
Justin got the memo.
I didn't
Black
get
hat,
the
everyone.
itinerary. Like, what?
Awkward.
That's okay. I think I got the best haircut though, so it's all good.
Yeah, mine's looking pretty crazy right now.
John's never been on the show before. Do you want to introduce yourself really quickly? I know I didn't tee you up for this at all beforehand.
You did not.
But we generally, the first time somebody's on, we'll ask them just to like share who they are, talk about what you do. If you have a favorite movie or anything else that you want to bring up that you think is a big part of yourself.
Absolutely. Well, hi everyone. I don't know what. Hello. I'm John.
Hello there.
Hello there.
John here.
I'm John. John Mark, actually. I am a director of photography / filmmaker / director. I love filmmaking. Love watching movies. It's literally my downtime, my pastime. And yeah, I am in videography as well.
What's your most recent film? Do you want to plug one? Is it the one that's still like not released?
Wow, yes it is. Yes it is. Yes, Deathmatch. That is the my best film to date.
The best film
it's
that you
pending.
can't see.
It's
It's a myth.
It's
That's
pending.
a myth.
Yes, it's pending.
It's a good marketing campaign. It's
It
been
is,
going on for so long.
People are going to be searching.
It's okay. It will be released very, very soon.
He's been telling me that for a year.
I've been telling you for a year.
Eventually.
Yeah.
This time it's true, though.
This time it's true. Yes. No, but it will be released soon. But
It won an award, right?
It did. It did.
Yeah, what
for,
did it win?
For best drama.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I think it got accepted to 3 film festivals as well.
Awesome.
And won one, which was amazing. And yeah, just hope to do more shorts. And hopefully do bigger and better things. Hopefully a feature down the road. It'd be amazing. But we all have time is precious. But my favorite film is Jurassic Park. Steven Spielberg is my favorite director of all time. He is why I got into filmmaking and why Jurassic Park and Jurassic Park is what got me into filmmaking.
He's definitely on the Mount Rushmore of filmmakers.
Oh, yeah.
There's inarguable. It's
Absolutely.
You can't disagree with that. But with that said, thanks for joining us, and Justin, thanks for coming back on the show, our most repeat guest. Now let's kind of get into the body, the short film. The one I kind of wanted to start at where we like came up with the idea, which for me, to your credit, again, like I said about the guys over here, this never would have happened at the inception without your kind of pushing for the start. You wanted to make something, and I feel like generally I am somebody who has ideas, but I need that push. So I was inspired by a scene in The Town, movie Ben Affleck directed and starred in, with the scene with Jeremy Renner, whose character's name is Jem. The scene where he comes in to see Jem and he says, I need your help. We're going to hurt some people. You can't ask me why. And we can't talk about it after. And he says, whose car we taking? Just like the Boston accent that Arron showed at the beginning of the episode. Easter egg. And so kind of the inspiration of the idea of like a friend calling you or coming to you in the middle of the night. I need your help with something. You don't know what it is, but a loyal friend is going to come and try to help him out. Even with that mystique, they're going to do everything they can to be a good friend. So that's the jumping off point for the story is our characters. Patrick gets a call in the night from Mikey. Mikey says, I need your help with something. And then it starts off with Patrick or Patty waiting at the front door of his house for Mikey to come pick him up. And it's kind of a mystery from there as to what Mikey wants him to do. It's kind of in the genre would be a thriller, put it like thriller/drama, a little bit of mystery. So he gets him in the car and they go out to the woods. And I won't unveil the plot from there, but
there may be spoilers that as we kind of talk about how we did different parts of the short and stuff. So make sure if you haven't seen The Body yet, you check it out.
It's only 6 minutes.
Yeah, it's only 6 minutes. I'll link it in the description of this video too, so it's easy for you to get to.
Pretty good.
Thank you. Well, we had a great cinematographer.
Yeah, we had a good team.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we definitely couldn't have done it without anyone who worked on the project. We had a small crew, but everyone was very important to getting this done. We had a very ambitious goal for our first time around. But yeah, I remember the night we just finished recording 2 episodes of the podcast, and then I kind of walked you out to the car and we're talking. I was saying, like, I want to make something. I want to make a film of some sort. And we were just kind of bouncing ideas. And Andrew's like, I got an idea. I was like, perfect. What is it? And he kind of gave me that pitch that he just told you guys about.
I think I told you like a David Fincher kind of feel, because those are some of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
Like Seven or Zodiac. I had recently watched Zodiac, I think, when we were talking about this.
Yeah. So I was like, awesome. Like, let's try to get our script written in, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks. And then you sent me a script in 2 or 3 days.
Yeah. We went on a trip, me and my fiance, and I wrote it in Google Docs on my phone while she was driving.
Yeah.
So I shared it with you. I mean, I'm usually pretty comfortable. I share like a really early draft with you. Like as soon as I'm done writing it, I'll text you. I'm done. Do you want to see it? And and then I just share the Google Doc with you, and then we like pick it apart and see what works, what doesn't, and it generally like changes from there because it's a first draft. But I like to get eyes on it early.
Yeah. And Andrew he gets an idea and then he just writes whatever's in his head. That way it's on the paper and we got the structure, and then from there we refine it.
At least the way I work creatively, the more I think about something, like overthinking comes on really quickly. Yes. I don't know about for you guys, but
everybody.
Because it'll stop me before I even get to the page if I don't just start writing. And it's almost like, it's almost a negative in a sense, because I'm like, all right, I can't get up from this seat until I finish writing this. So it'd be hard for me to write a feature, definitely. I have to come back to it a lot.
Yeah, and I've realized through this process too, like I'm not a good writer from scratch with nothing there. Like I like having you write the story and then from there helping bounce ideas off of you.
Arron likes to eviscerate he's like, this is terrible.
Not true.
He's like, I like to write. I like to just
tell you you're wrong. No, but I wanted to ask you, John, you wrote Deathmatch, right?
I actually did not. I wrote The Treatment.
Okay.
Which was about 1.5 pages or 2 pages, actually.
Yeah.
I pretty much wrote like every single thing of what's going to happen into it. And then I pitched it to a writer. This is actually the first time I actually used a writer, because I wrote all of my short films.
Yeah.
From early beginnings to even until recently. But then I'm like, you know what? I want somebody that definitely more talented than me as far as writing dialogue and everything, but I want to at least have the control of the overall story. So then I pitched it to this guy, his name is Michael, who went to film school with me, loves writing, great writer, and I pitched it to him. I think we had breakfast one morning. I'm like, I got this idea. Here's the treatment, and he loved it. And
that's so cool.
Yeah, it's one of those
really good too.
Oh yeah, I know. And it was funny is that he sends me the first draft on my birthday.
Oh, nice.
It was such a great birthday. Yeah, it was such a great birthday gift, and I'm reading it. I'm like, this is
happy birthday.
Incredible.
Let's make a movie.
Yes, absolutely.
Heck
I'm like, this is fucking incredible.
If
like,
I'm not
please.
mistaken, I think you were 22.
I could
Damn.
23.
No.
I could not like sit around and listen to you guys like without seeing this movie, or even in just 5 minutes of talking. It's a great movie. It's won awards. Justin's like, the script was so good too, and it's like, but you'll never see it. I'd be like, give me the footage.
It's like an imaginary girlfriend. You know, like I don't believe she's real.
This movie lives in Canada
until I see her.
It lives in Alaska.
Hey, but it's okay. She's a bombshell. It's great. You know, trust me.
Many awards.
But yeah, the thing about it is that you don't want to overthink. As filmmakers, overthinking and procrastinating is what kind of kills us.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is you just got to just write what you want to do and just go for it.
Yeah, I think we try to go full steam ahead with everything kind of that we do creatively, so that you can't slow down. And Arron's always been big on pushing that, which I appreciate. I mean, you know, sometimes if it's hard, like I'm like, Arron, I'm tired, and he's whipping me and stuff. But
Keep working.
but I know sometimes like you feel like you're being pushy, but it's appreciated, you know, like to get the impetus to like move forward, and you're making sure that like the rewrites are being done, and I think that you're a good director in that sense creatively. But the next thing that we did because we went back and forth over the script, we did a lot of rewrites
over a few days.
We did a lot of table reads, and we generally work like only a day or two a week. We work alongside doing the podcast. So Arron, in the meantime, after that, in the next couple of weeks, wrote up a shot list that I could then go over on the Google Doc, and we could kind of visualize the film in our head.
Yeah,
you planned out some of the
like
materials.
Yeah, a lot like his first draft of the script. The shot list was very rough. I just numbered every single shot that I think we would need.
And it changed so much when we did location scouting too.
Right. Yeah.
We had to see what the landscape was, because so much of the script takes place outdoors.
Yeah, and we did that. The scouting for these locations, we did that within a week or two after getting the script. And then I think, didn't we film like 3 or 4 weeks after we came up with the idea?
Yeah. We had an opening and we had everything lined up because we already had most of the materials. We used like a lot of the stuff that we already had around and our own clothes. And then we asked friends and family to like help us out. And so it came together pretty nicely. Like we got everyone locked in on the schedule, and like you planned out how we were going to do the days. Or we kind of went back and forth over the days to make sure, because the script details like a time, you know, sunrise and sunset in the story, and time passes even though it's only 6 minutes. So that was a big factor too. So there's a lot of logistics and planning before even getting to the day of. And the day of is really like a big fun part too for us to get to next to discuss.
Right. Yeah, everything day of is just execution of your plan.
It should have all been planned out. And I think we did a really good job, especially for our first short ever. Everything was on a pretty decent schedule. Yes. I mean, there were long days, and we filmed over just 2 days.
2 days, yeah.
The first day especially was really long, but the schedule worked out. You know, maybe we just got lucky, but the schedule worked out really well. We put a lot of thought into it beforehand.
That's something I'm most proud of, was the scheduling of everything, because I didn't want one to take advantage of everyone who was helping. You know, like if we told them that like, hey, we'd be done by 7, like I want to make sure that we were done at that time and got everything that we needed and stuff, like to be respectful of everyone's time. But we had to shoot things all out of order versus like what the actual script would be edited. So that was a lot of fun, like piecing together like the puzzles of when we can do what, making sure we had enough time. We had 3 or 4 locations that we had to go to. Like we were shooting inside of my car. We were in front of Justin's house. We went to the park, 2 different parks to stitch together as one.
And that was something we did too, even after the fact, was going back to parks and getting B-roll and things like connecting shots.
Yeah, it was you guys definitely planned it very well. Like I was talking to him about it with each day, and I was like, wow, this is very well thought out, very well planned. The shots were very intricate. Like I kept making comments to him. They were good comments, but I'm like, holy shit, this is their first film and they're gonna do this crazy shot with the Ronin and the camera and all this stuff. And I'm like, what in the world is this? Which is pretty ambitious. This is good. I like this. It's kind of fun.
That's why we needed the best people with us so we could actually achieve it.
Yeah.
And even beforehand too, like talking about planning and logistics, we took your camera out to the car and tried to map out these shots with you, me, and your wife, Brooke, and just tried to see like test footage just as possible to do what we have in our head, you know, because that way the day of we weren't like completely scrambling with the more complicated shots we envisioned. Which, speaking of there's a stunt in the movie. I don't want to spoil what happens. There's one stunt, and
I feel like we could probably talk about it. Everyone that's watching right now should go watch the film.
It's great. Watch it.
I'm just saying it's not necessary for me to spoil it to say this, but we didn't really test the stunt though.
No,
we were nervous about it taking up a lot of time, and it worked out really well. But we tested it the day that we filmed it. We did like a practice fall for the stunt,
and if it didn't work,
we would have been
it would have been screwed. Yeah, we would have had to do something not nearly as cool. That's for sure.
Right.
But it was a cool like build up. You created a lot of tension in your script, like getting to that climax part of the film. So what did you guys think? Like, joining in on the project, you guys got the script from us. I don't think you read the script.
No,
this guy.
Yeah.
Just not a lot of faith in us.
Yeah, the tendency to not do that even with my stuff.
Yeah, it just shows up.
Like
I have to actually explain the entire plot to him.
Isn't this so annoying?
Like Cliff Notes, because he always does it.
to read scripts. I'm not gonna lie. It's, for the reasons I've already told you.
Yeah.
And also, every time I read a script, I don't know if it's the format or whatever, I just get lost and I forget the past 2 pages. So it feels pointless. Like I'm reading something and I can't remember it unless I hear about it from the person who's planned it or like I see it visually, which it's also just a part of the challenge. I like to like walk into a spot, not know what I'm doing, but at the same time I do know what I'm doing. And all it takes is like, hey, shoot me here, and I can shoot you there.
You are really intuitive with the shots. I mean, Aaron's complimented you a lot since like going through the edit and everything, saying like how you do a really good job of like if he has a shot in mind, capturing it like as a cameraman. Definitely a more steady hand than me.
If you like just tell me what it is, like I think you're the same way. It's like and you too. I mean, you shoot stuff too. It's like if you audible and visual is better than like me reading it off a piece of paper.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's just easier that way.
Or even like some of the shots, I would
aesthetic learner.
I would take the camera and just kind of go through the past that I wanted, and then you guys did such a good job of just like replicating it.
It wasn't even like looking at the monitor; it was looking at where you were.
Right? Yeah. Because you're right. We did have a lot of dynamic shots, you know, that may not have been necessary, but I think we're definitely like part of the style that Andrew and I wanted to portray on screen.
Yeah.
And some of them were pretty complicated, like the shot in the car. We ended up filming this shot very first. It's an emotional part of the movie where I'm getting into the car and there's a lot of emotion building up, and I just kind of yell and let all that emotion out. And the camera starts in the back seat with John. I get into the car, you see me in the rearview mirror, and then he passes the camera over to Justin as Andrew puts down the passenger seat.
Yeah.
And then Justin grabs the camera from John and pulls out. So it's this like sweeping motion as the scene like starts to explode, you know. And we even filmed it. We filmed that one probably the most.
Oh yeah.
Most
easily,
takes.
Easily.
Because we were trying to get the timing right, get the handoff smooth. That was pretty difficult to do. And then we shot it a few different ways just in case if it didn't work. Yeah. But it ended up working. I left that's the shot that's in the film.
And it was the one that we didn't think any of us liked.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It kind of like goes in and out of focus. It's a little like you can kind of feel the handoff just a little bit, but it kind of added to the tension of the scene, I thought.
Yeah, it worked.
You know, where
absolutely.
Kind of like he's boiling up, so like it felt like the frame was boiling with him, you know. What were some of your guys' favorite shots to shoot on the film?
I think for sure the forest shots. I think those are always fun. I you know, me is
Jurassic Park?
It's because that's exactly what it is. I love films that take place in like forest or woods or area because there's a lot of color, and also when you shoot it in the right time of day, especially since we did that, it was beautiful, especially with like the sun, you know, golden hour and stuff. Yeah, through the trees, and then doing the fog and stuff like that. It just adds a lot of ambience and actually adds a lot of production value to your film.
Just a lot of fullness to the scene.
It is. Yeah. It is the best. It is definitely the best thing in the film because it makes it. It actually makes it. The production value is so big there.
For a low budget like project, it's just a free set, like nature.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it was great.
You have like it looks like we had to drive like an hour to find that spot.
Yeah, right. Those woods are right behind our house.
There's a lot of character in it. I will be definitely using that sometime. Using it too because like that's a no-brainer. It looks great.
I remember that first shot we filmed. Both of you. It was the first take, I think. You guys were walking pretty fast.
In the woods.
We were struggling to keep up with you guys, but then, like, it still looked good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how that happened. And then I think we did it a few more times, but, like, that just is a testament to how great the location was with all the fog. Like, you know, your sister was like...
Oh man, bless her. She was
in between every take. Running over there.
And we had a. If you guys remember, we had a person out there too, like riding a dirt bike or something around the trail. They kept doing laps across our path while we were trying to film that shot. That is one of my favorite shots in that area though, where we did it's kind of like a trucking shot going to the side that passes along that tree
with the tree.
I really love that shot.
Yeah.
So good.
That one. Then the shot right before that, where you guys are walking up.
I was gonna bring that one up.
Yeah, that
one's really cool.
That looks like it's out of like.
And that was like we didn't even really plan that shot. That was just something that we got. Yeah.
Happy accidents are always great.
Yeah. That's exacally what that one was.
Yeah. The drone shot that we went back and got that goes across the water. That risky shot that made us
nervous. Dude, you want to hear how we shot that? You want to hear? That was crazy. So it was. I just got the drone like 2 days before we went out and shot this. And I've never flown a drone before. So we practiced around here real quick. And then we're like, all right, let's go to the woods. So we go over to the woods. We get the shots revealing the forest. And then we get a shot where it's kind of going over the forest and pans down or whatever. And then we get into the forest and we wanted to get a shot kind of the water where we were by. So I think we take off from the ground right on the water's edge and it goes up and there's trees everywhere. And we just bring the drone out and then bring it right back. And then we couldn't land it because of how much trees were in the way and the ground was uneven. So Andrew had to grab it out of the air and it's like trying to fight.
Every time my hand goes up underneath it, it's like it's intuitive. So it's like going up away from my hands and I snatch it.
And at the time, because it's one of my first times flying, I didn't know how to override that. Yeah. So he just ends up grabbing it and holding onto it until it basically turns off.
It's like... It's fighting in America with
with a tiny drone. It was like so nerve-wracking because it was brand new and expensive.
Yeah.
And even going over the water is just nerve-wracking. Like if something happens.
We've had that experience.
We've had so many experiences. Even trying to land it on a boat.
Yeah.
That's nerve-wracking.
Never want to do that again.
Yeah. No, I never either.
But yeah, we actually did see a drone fall into a body of water.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We weren't flying.
I would have been so sad.
We were not.
A body of water.
A body of water.
The body.
And it was like this. It was like slow mo. Like you know the things in movies. Like that's actually real because like it just stopped, and then like it felt like it stayed there for a second, and then just bloop. And we're all just like
devastated.
I would have been wrecked. I would have been wrecked.
It was my drone, so it's all good. But I still was like, oh.
But the other favorite shot for me, besides those two, is probably the shot you got with the shovel.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that shot up.
Like that one is just too clean.
I put the glove on Andrew's chest, and you follow my hand to grab the shovel. Yeah, it was so smooth.
Sierra, my fiance, actually mentioned that she really liked that shot and the sound effect that goes with it. Like has a cool effect of like taking it away. It feels very dramatic. I like the wide for the big stunt, the big plot twist.
At the end.
I like that wide a lot.
Yeah. So
that feels very real.
That shot's pretty cool because that's the only shot that was a locked off tripod shot. Everything else was done with the Ronin or handheld.
Which is great.
Yeah, the reason is because like in that moment the character is fully sure of what he's doing.
But it's also so cool to think how well planned that seems in terms of the plot and how much we like it, but also how far it came from the original conception of that scene, which was like originally like an over the shoulder shot, like a Nolan following shot of the character,
and it just
to
wasn't
its heart.
Working,
and we just totally audibled that, like I don't know how long before, but like we audibled again when we got there.
Yeah,
even so, it's changed like 2 or 3 times.
For the better, honestly, because it's just you left it locked off. It's a wide shot. I think it's more impactful as opposed to doing so many shots. And that's my advice for you guys as you're doing more of these films. Is you could have all these shots, but when you come up, once you get on set, you're gonna start being like, actually, we don't need this. We don't need this.
Be
and you start problem solving. You be flexible, but also don't plan for a crazy amount of shots because since you guys edit it as well, yeah, you want the coverage, but go in there with an intention, but just be ready to be flexible. That's my advice for you moving forward with all of these short films: is just be flexible and be ready to throw out a shot list if you need to. I have done that as well. It's not advised, but there are times where you have a shot list completely ready to go and it doesn't work out and you have to throw it out. And thankfully,
not doing that,
yep. But then then you just problem solve with your team and your crew. And him and I always problem solve, and we honestly for the better. And it kicks ass.
I mean, that just makes me have more fun. Not that I don't want a shot list, but like those situations, I just tend to laugh inside, even though I don't probably show you it because I don't want you to start freaking out. I think I'm going all Joker, but like it's just like, oh, okay, now we just do whatever we want, but also make it look awesome.
Right. Yeah. It's such a good feeling when you find something that works, and then you look at the shot you got, and it kind of feels like everything came together.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
Denis Villeneuve said something in an interview that I was listening to, like that you prepare so you can be flexible on set.
Yes, absolutely.
So like we did the shot list, we did a few test shots, tried to test out some of the colors that we were looking for the color grade, and we test out the car scene with the lights and stuff because that was shot in my garage and we're supposed to be driving. So like that's something that we haven't even talked about yet, but like things come up where you have a better idea on set, and because you've planned so much, you're on time. You're able to be flexible. And something that I like as a director and that I've been saying is I don't care where a good idea comes from as long as we make the best film. So if we get there and it's day of and the DP over here is like, hey, it would be better if we actually moved over here, even though we were planning for this. It's like, you know what? That's actually better. Let's do that.
Absolutely.
I want everyone to kind of pitch in and make it feel like it's just this collaborative effort,
I want people to try to give me ideas so I can say no.
Yeah. Absolutely not.
But I think that it was so much fun, like playing around on day of. Like you talk about preparing to be flexible. Like the car scene's a great example. When we were in the garage, like we intended to have some sort of moving light source to give the idea that outside the car, a scene was moving by. The world was moving by as we were driving, and we kind of played around with like a pole and like different light sources attached to it until we got something that we thought looked ideal. And maybe like you can notice it more if we tell you this and you go back and look and watch it. But that car scene, a lot of it shot in Arron's garage with somebody outside the car, moving the car to give it a little bit of a wobble like we're driving. Another person holding a light source on a stick, moving it across and then taking it out of view, moving it back to give the appearance that light posts are moving along outside. Another person shooting with the camera outside the car. So just like a team of people and creativity coming together to disguise something, to give us more control over the scene. So that we're not like out, so we can get those shots from outside the car, from over the shoulder.
It's a mixture of having control, but it's also because of it being low budget. Like with bigger Hollywood films, you have the capability to block off a whole street. And you have car rig and the director like Tarantino sitting there with the kid with the DP cameraman, stuff like that.
It's so funny that you say Tarantino, because the great example I thought of when you said that was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. They closed off to get these big, like nice wide and medium shots of Brad Pitt driving that like classic car along the highway. They closed off stretches of highway.
Yeah.
And it looks so good because there's somebody in another car driving along taking a shot of him.
Exactly.
Like, it looks stunning.
But what sells the garage shots is having shots of like drone and everything like that, when showing the actual car going through real streets, so that you can sell it. Because if you didn't, and you just only have that, and then maybe just the car arriving to the area.
What we did
wouldn't necessarily sell.
Yeah, the way that we made it work in the edit was exactly what we said. We started with a drone shot of the car pulling out of the neighborhood, and then we cut to a shot where Andrew and I were driving in my car, but you guys were in another car.
Yeah.
And he was hanging out.
Man,
John was hanging out the window with my camera out the window holding it, and we get a shot of the car driving on an actual road.
It was a Tarantino shot, but without the road closed.
Yeah, that was fun. My back suffered, and also I was shitting bricks because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not my camera.
But that
worked.
That made the scene like feel so real, because as soon as we jumped into the car, it was a backseat shot of us actually driving on the road when we delivered our first lines.
You could see the street lights, so you could see the actual environment.
It works. So it's solid.
Yeah, we told the viewer, like, hey, this is where we're at. This is the car. Now we're in the car actually driving. And then we cut for the rest of the dialogue was in the garage. And then the last scene of the last delivery of the lines was back in the car for real as we turn left at the light. And now it's like, oh, we're in the car again.
It's movie magic. It's literally movie magic. It's that type of thing. You're like, you're a magician. You can't just. It's not just pointing an iPhone or whatever and just trying your best to make it work. Like, no, there is lots of planning, lots of logistics, and just trying to overall piece everything together.
Well, that's what made me really like. I've always loved movies. I've always been like, attracted to the idea of making movies, and it's really when I started to see all the like intention that goes into filmmaking as I got older that I'm like developed as a movie fan, as like wanting to be a creator. So like the things that people don't realize where we get like manipulated by movies, I think, is like the minutia. You like when you start to really look closely at movies instead of viewing them like more casually, then you can see all the intention that goes in from the director, from the writer, from the actors, from everybody the cast and crew of a film, like the production design. Like there's these small little details to try to make the characters real, whether it be the writing, whether it be like a part of their outfit, maybe their shirt's tucked in to show that they're more organized or, more formal. And it's like, all of that is thought of. People like see something like, oh, it's funny how that happened like that. Well, it's not funny. It's on purpose. Like it's
the production takes months and months and months.
Somebody took a lot of thought and care into making it that way so that it would make sense, so that you subconsciously would notice it and you would form an idea about this character. Oh, he's got this little twitch, like you always talk about with Jake Gyllenhaal's character in Prisoners. Like, there's a reason why they do these things, and I love that there's a reason. So we tried to think of that when we made ours, and like with little details in the script. Like there's little foreshadowing details that you'll go back and notice. And one of my favorites is Aaron's character in the car when they're talking. He says, "I trusted you. Like that's why I need your help," and he says past tense. So like it's something you can watch again and notice, like, oh, he said trusted, not I trust you. And there's details like that we littered throughout because we wanted it to feel like it was thought into.
Yeah, we had that third character, they're wearing the same color as Andrew's character to show that they had some sort of connection. And that was thought out too.
Yellow and gray and white.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about it too, is that it's you guys' first short film. It is inherently a very simple story, but you guys added a lot of development behind the scenes, but then you also added it in there and made subtle things that if you rewatch it, even though it's a simple story, you pick up things like, oh, that's impressive. That's another thing that I loved. I'm like, this is a simple concept, but there's things in there that are made for rewatching, and that's quite impressive.
That's a huge compliment.
Yeah, that's quite impressive.
And I really wanted it to be a simple story, like from concept to script. I wanted it to be something where for our short film, like it would be easier to control. So I tried to write it like, oh, we're going from this house to the woods. Like the woods is free. We don't have to pay anybody to be in the woods. Like, I tried to write it to where it would be easy to control, where it would, and still make sense. And I feel like a lot of it worked out in our favor. Like when you want to, we hear this all the time, and we said it on the show before. Like famous creators say this, like if you want to be in the movie industry, if you want to make something, the easiest thing to do is to go out and make something, make your first thing, and I think like do yourself the favor of like making it something that suits you, make it something that suits not only your interests, but also like the amount of finances you have to put into the movie, the amount of like skill you have to do certain things. I mean, we didn't try to make our first film like a sci-fi epic. You know, we didn't try to put lightsabers in it. You know, maybe down the line we'll have like access to more special effects. But there's you know an effect in this film, and I think you did a really great job with it. But we didn't try to like. I don't think we tried to get like overly ambitious. Maybe some of the shots, but it worked out in the end, right?
Yeah. And the only reason that some of the shots were so ambitious is because we knew that we had you two. Like if we didn't, like everything would have been on a tripod, you know, like it wouldn't have worked out. It wouldn't have been the same without you.
Right.
But kind of going back to like the movie magic, I think something that people might not realize is like how many takes it takes to put a scene together and how many different takes are actually used to stitch together that scene. Like even in the car, like we shot the whole scene from Andrew's camera angle. And then we did the whole scene from my camera angle. Each of those we had to do 2 or 3 times to get a good delivery, you know, and then we did it from the back seat to have extra coverage just in case we needed to cut to the back. And then we did it on the actual road from the back seat. And we stitched all of those together to make this like scene complete.
I think if your movie knowledge is like pretty basic, you might not know this, but like a lot of people might envision it like there's like a multicam setup, which there is for like a lot of sitcom shoots, like Friends shot multicam. And you might think that they're shooting multicam and we're reading our lines back and forth. But really most movies, and what we did, is shooting single camera, and there's a line delivery, and like they filmed the shot. So it would be like maybe I would deliver my line and you would deliver, like you would say your line, so I had my like back and forth, but not filming us both at the same time, so that we could get like individual deliveries, different takes of those individual deliveries. And then Arron, as the editor of the film, has a whole bunch, like dozens and dozens of takes spread out on his editing software to like piece together, to find the ones that he thinks works, to cut them together, to cut them back and forth to different angles so that the film seems dynamic. And I think that is maybe like a misconception about film that some people have, is like the actors sit like they're in theater, like they're putting on a play and just delivering their lines. But it's really like one single shot has like a lot of effort put into it to deliver, you know, 2 to 6 seconds of screen time.
Yeah. Before we move on to like the post-production side of the film, what was the hardest part for you think, like kind of day of?
The hardest part day of, I feel like, was probably I'm indecisive. So like I was kind of more so in charge of delivery of lines, since I wrote the script, like how we wanted a lot of lines to sound. So just being decisive about what final cut on a take, you know, like that's good, we can wrap and move on to the next one,
right?
You know, so that decisiveness is probably the hardest thing for me.
Yeah, the way we split it up was Andrew was in charge of the delivery, the script. If we had to do any adjustments through the script, that goes through him. The other actors, their performance, that goes through him. And then I was in charge of the shots, the lighting, the
and
camera
my performance
movement
too.
And I would give him notes too if needed. The hardest part for me was directing, but then also having to kind of get back into the emotion of the scene to actually perform, you know, because that's a whole different skill. That's a whole different job, you know, to actually act. So not only was it our first time directing a film, it was our first time acting in a film.
Give a lot of respect to like the actor directors like Affleck, Ben Affleck, and
Sylvester. It's gonna be so hard.
Clint Eastwood, like
even just actors in general. You know, even just directors in general, like their jobs by themselves is already complicated enough. And to have to go from like, oh, let me watch that take. Yeah, the camera looks good. Or can we make this adjustment with the camera? And then Andrew's like, I didn't like the performance, or can we do it this way? And it's like, all right, now I got to get back in the emotion. What was my character going through? Okay, he's feeling this. And all right, I'm ready. And then Andrew or John gives that action, and then we roll with the scene. That was hard to like.
The acting aspect in general was hard for me. I mean, I'm trying to, during the scenes, like listen to what you're saying, act and react, and try to have like think about how the expression on my face as you're talking to. So it's difficult, the acting. It's definitely easier for me to be on the other side and like write something than it is to get in front of the camera and perform.
Something you did do that I think helped our performance on screen was you wrote the characters with us in mind. So when you were writing, you knew which character I was going to play and which character you were going to play, and you wrote to our strengths. You know, like you gave me less lines and more emotion, and you gave yourself more lines and you're
more sarcastic and
more bubbly.
Not as maybe not as dramatic emotion.
Yeah, so I think we were able to balance that really well because you wrote it with us in mind. Like before you even started writing the script, we were talking about who should play which person.
I am a genius.
You are. You are. Just don't let it go to your head, though.
Script writing is hard, too. I mean, I second guess myself a lot there, and it's really hard because it's like the building blocks and foundation of what's going to come to be the film. So it's like if the building blocks are kind of shaky, you're setting everybody else working on the film up for failure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to post-production, this is where all the editing and sound design and music and color grading and any of the VFX
I just want to quickly, too, because before I forget, I remember this when you said before we move on.
Yeah.
I want to thank anybody who's listening to this episode, especially if you made it this far. We're really quite far into this body review, and this is a special one that's close, near and dear to our hearts. So thank you so much for watching. Please make sure that you like, follow, subscribe, rate and review the show because it helps other people see it, and make sure to share with friends and family as well. You can follow us on all platforms. We're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, the artist formerly known as Twitter, now known as X. We're everywhere.
So to make our job or my job harder with the editing was I switched programs right before. I switched from Final Cut Pro to DaVinci Resolve. So probably the month before we actually filmed, I was kind of transitioning over and trying to learn DaVinci because I knew I wanted to edit the film in DaVinci. So I was like going through like personal stuff and then also work stuff. I tried to start switching over to DaVinci to learn that program. And then, so there was everything that I did for the body took longer than it would have normally if I stayed in Final Cut. Because any move that I made that I knew what I wanted to do, I had to like look up how to do that. And some of it I could remember and kind of get into a flow. And then every once in a while I'd be like, shoot, how do you do that again? You know, like what's the hotkey or whatever? And I have to look that up. So that was a challenge, but also a blessing because it forced me to learn this extra program that I can add to my tool belt. But yeah, the editing was a lot of fun and there's a lot of steps. It's the longest part of the process for at least this film because it took about a month for pre-production. We filmed it in 2 days and then editing took 3 or 4 months.
It just depends on who you are, because for some people the script might take the longest part, but obviously we write ours a little faster.
Right. But yeah, the way that I approached it was just getting a kind of rough draft all the way through and then having Andrew watch that rough draft. So it's kind of like the reverse of the script writing. I put the movie together in a very rough cut and then he watches it to see if he agrees with the performances that I picked. Because on set, maybe we thought take 2 was the best scene. But then when I'm looking back at it in the editing room, maybe take 4 is the best.
Well, that's the hard part about what we discussed where you're filming your lines and I'm filming mine is because then when you put it together in the edit, how does it sound when our performances are actually back to back? Am I getting too emotional at something that your previous line wasn't that emotional, you know? So putting that together can be hard in the edit, I feel like.
Yeah, there's one part in particular where you bring up my character's significant other. And we were having trouble shooting this spot.
Kind of at the fork in the road.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out like what the camera angle was, like which direction we were walking and stuff. And John actually stepped in a lot and kind of helped us get the emotion of the character and stuff down. And then from there, we were able to work out the shots that I wanted to get. And then from that, we transitioned into that shot that you like so much where we're walking and it's tracking along the side as the tree kind of goes past. And then we pick up into this line where now my character is a little bit more emotional. And on set, Andrew was like, oh, that line was good. Let's try it a little more emotional. And we kept doing that. We did like 4 takes or so, where it was very stoic, a little bit more emotion, a little bit more emotion. And then there was like a lot of emotion. and we felt good about all of them. But I think on set we liked the last one the most. But then I ended up using like the second one, you know, where we're a little more stoic because it fit the last scene a little bit better. And it's easier to see that when you're editing rather than being on set. And the only way that it worked was because we tried different performances, you know, and it gave me coverage to match scene from scene, you know?
Right.
And then there was some like pacing stuff that we had to go through with like
We had to fill in some gaps. I know that was a big thing for you, and we went back and got some of the B-roll with the drone and some other shots.
Right.
Pickups are always a big thing. Pickups, reshoots, you got to plan for it. Even though production officially wraps, that doesn't mean it officially wraps.
Yeah.
Certain cuts might feel kind of jarring, and you just need something more establishing the park, something filling out an area, giving a beat for a pause.
Yeah, we were so focused the day of on getting all the coverage of the acting and stuff.
Which we got all the stuff that we needed everyone there for, which I think was wise.
Exactly. And then because of that, we didn't get a lot of coverage of like the forest that we were in for like B-roll shots and stuff. So we did have to go back and get the drone shots afterwards. And there was a few like B-roll shots that we were able to use, like the happy accident that we were talking about earlier, where we're kind of walking up and the sun flares coming over top of us. And finding a spot where to fit all that in, and then sound design, you know, like the Foley work where you hear like the car door shut, you know, like every sound that you hear in the film other than our voice was put in after the fact, you know. So that took a lot of time matching all that up, but also finding the assets to make the sound right.
Oh,
and
we got you beat, man. We had to ADR an entire film once.
Yeah, that's insane.
And I will never do that again. But sound design is key.
Yeah,
that's very important. So you did a great job because it.
Yeah,
thank you.
Sounded.
Of the film.
It is honestly.
The sound.
I think the sound design is the best part.
I think it's up there, but I really like the shots.
Oh, okay. Nice.
I like the visuals of the film a lot.
Hey, listen. Hey, visuals and sound. That's good.
I feel like maybe it's because we all. Like I was there on set and I knew what it was already going to look like besides the grade. The sound was just like you never really know how it's going to come out.
Yeah.
Especially since it was essentially it was your first film that you edited completely top to bottom.
Yep.
Everything.
It is probably the most like surprisingly impressive part if you put it that way. The sound is right up there with the visuals for me. Like the way the sound transitions some of the scenes, the car door closing, the front door of the house closing, the steps walking through the wood. Even the gun sound effect. There's a lot of just really like quality sharpness to the sound, like that. It's a like visceral. It feels very real. There's no point where I personally question the sound. You know.
Yeah. Like even when we're walking through the woods, you know, finding different sound effects of footsteps. Like, oh, he's walking through leaves right now. Oh, now he's in sand. So like it has to like transition. That took a lot of time to match up. But then the song choices, you know, for this film we didn't have anything like originally scored, so it was finding bits and pieces of songs on websites that
those worked out so good, by the way. I mean, the low rumbling as we get into the car, it's like dun dun dun.
Yeah, a few of them are like two songs layered on top of each other. You know, like I took the bass track from one and then the instruments from another and kind of put them together, and it helped add like this lightness but still the dark undertone. And then in any like emotional part where my character like did something, like gave the glove and grabbed the shovel, like you'd hear the like sound for my character, and that would show up throughout the scene or out the film. And then once the climax happened, that sound like expanded, it became more. And the sound built up along the tension of the dialogue and the emotion of the scene. The sound helped get us to that point, I think.
I think we've covered quite a bit of the film. If we're coming close to the end of the discussion, I have one question for both of you gentlemen. What was your least favorite part about working with Arron?
I know, man. That's great.
Real answers only.
He's
Hurtful answers only.
I can take it.
He makes me feel like a weak man.
That's a compliment. You sly dogs.
I diss myself.
I don't know, man.
Really know if I could. I mean, I don't think there's really an answer specifically with the body in mind. Because
but with other things, there's a bunch. There's a long list.
Honestly, we were like,
how much time you have?
We were going like essentially balls to the wall, trying to hit the timeline of what we needed to do, and we all had our roles. We were also all trying to help each other, so it was a lot of jumping around that I don't think any of us had any time to even like not like one another or think, oh, this guy's doing such a great job. Like, it's like we just got to do the thing.
I enjoyed collaborating with you guys, though. I feel like it was a good open space for communication, and like we all could like freely share ideas. That's what I was thinking when you mentioned the like being a big budget director and star. Like if you're Bradley Cooper on the set of Maestro, I mean, you can't comfortably go to somebody else and be like, hey, like how was my performance? It's like you're all getting paid a certain pay grade based on your contribution to the project, and he's the director, so it's not very maybe he can go to like his like AD or something and like ask them, but there's a limited set of people. We can kind of freely share ideas, like we're all just out there like having a good time and like enjoying it. So it's got to be really stressful to be on a big budget project. Like you can't ask one of your like co-stars when you're like, if you're a director and star, you're getting paid probably like twice as much as them. It'd be unfair to put another job role on them and have them direct a performance.
Yeah.
Maybe they do it anyway. I don't know, depending on comfortability with one another. But
yeah, it definitely helped that we've all worked together on other projects and stuff in some sort of capacity, you know, because then there's this almost like unspoken understanding, of what each of us is looking for, you know, like when we asked for help on our delivery on lines and stuff, you guys kind of knew what we were looking for ahead of time, so you were able to help us kind of get into that headspace.
I think we all took cues well and gave good cues. I think it was a successful collaboration.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Have you guys thought about what you would rate your own film?
It's on. Hey, I should have mentioned this at the top, but our short film is on Letterboxd, and it's on the TMDB, the movie database. So you can actually go on Letterboxd after you've seen the short film on YouTube. You can rate it. You can mark it as seen. It has our poster on there, our names, stars, directors, the summary. It's all on there. It's all on Letterboxd. The Body by Andrew DiCristina and Aaron Tate. So I think that's really exciting. If I were to rate it, I don't know. I'd probably be super harsh on it. Give it like. For me, like maybe I don't want to say a bad rating. I don't want to turn people away from 5 stars.
I was obviously thinking of the classic rating you guys always do for your movies.
Instead of giving a rating, I'll tell you my favorite like part of the film, and that's
like, it's my favorite short film we've produced this year.
The thing that I'm probably most proud of personally is the color grade, because that was something that I had to learn in a new program, and then also this was like my first time grading a film. So like there was a lot of things that I didn't know beforehand that I had to kind of learn on the fly. I do really like all the sound design and stuff, but
I would grade it an A+.
Yeah, I like all the sound design and stuff, but I didn't necessarily have to like learn it, you know, like I just found the sounds and matched them up. That was just time. But the color grade, I had to look up a bunch of tutorials and like troubleshoot a lot of things. Like my hair at the time was like platinum blonde, so it was like picking up a lot of the color from the trees and stuff. So like trying to isolate that to make it where my hair didn't look a different color than it was, and color matching it from scene to scene when the lighting's slightly different. So that's something that I'm most proud of personally of the film.
I'm you know, as far as my contributions, I think I'm definitely most proud of the script. I like the concept.
Definitely.
I like the twist. For the most part, 90% plus the people I've talked to have been like sold on the twist. They enjoyed it. They were surprised by it. Didn't see it coming. And I just like seeing the shock on people's faces when, you know, there's that twist moment at the end, and it seems like a valuable payoff in terms of like watching the rest of it. So I feel like I'm really proud of. I remember me and Sarah were on a trip. When, like I said, when I wrote this, we were out on a hike, and I'm just like getting all excited, telling her like, and then people will like be expecting this, but it's gonna be this twist, and it's gonna be awesome. And so like since playing it for our friends and family, we did a small showing for like friends and family at Aaron's house and putting it on YouTube. just been really excited seeing like everyone's reaction, especially to the twist part and to the way we displayed it on screen, which is, I think, very dynamic, a lot of fun, a little bit of special effects and a stunt. So I think it's just been awesome seeing the reaction to that and feeling that payoff. Like it feels like some people bought into something if they have like a shocked reaction. It feels like they were sold on that universe and their head was living in that universe when the big moment came. And also, I want to mention that the short film has been accepted into its first film festival. We may have said this already on the show, but our current short film was accepted into the Sunscreen 19th Annual Film Festival in St. Pete, and we're still in contention for 3 other film festivals as of right now. We'll probably submit to like some more, but we got our first. We haven't been denied yet.
That's right.
We got our first response, and it was
one, baby.
I've been denied. That's okay.
100%.
At first, you're like, oh,
bombshells.
My heart.
well, not everybody has good taste. But no, I'm joking. But no, yeah, you just gotta when that happens, you just gotta all right, move on to the next.
Yeah,
if that happens.
Yeah. Oh, hey, there you go. Yeah.
No, but we're so excited to be included in that, and hopefully more to come. We're gonna be going to that later this month, and I'm so pumped to show it at
April 26th. Again, it's in St. Pete, Florida. So if you guys are around, you can come check it out. It'll be the first time it's shown on big screen.
It's gonna be
learn what a DCI was or DCP was submit it to them. So that was fun. But
and then
it'll be played on the big screen.
In other news, also, we are now inspired to work on our next short film.
Hey,
so there's not too many details that we're divulging yet, but we are heavily into the planning stage.
Yep.
Like the logistics, we have a film production date. Blocking. We have a date, a couple days for us to get together. We have some leads out for our other cast members. Again, we're gonna co-direct this next short. Probably gonna be a little bit longer. Is there any other tidbits you want to give out about our planned next short film?
Yeah, basically everything that we did with the body, this is going to be twice as hard.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
At least it's a lot more convoluted. This one, it's a very big idea, and it's something that we think is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be well over double in length. It's probably going to be right now like 15 minutes long. So that's a big hurdle. And then there's a lot more dialogue, which relies on our performance even more so.
A lot more
and then
stunts.
There's a lot more stunts, yeah. Exactly.
That's all we'll say for now, maybe.
It's better.
So much for me.
Yeah, it's an action film, so it's going to be a little more action heavy than the body was. The body relied on a lot of tension, and this one's going to be more performance based. So I'm very excited for that. Today we were working on some of the shots and stuff today, so it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so we'll film in the next couple months, and then it'll come out eventually.
Eventually, yeah.
Nice.
Exactly.
Is that a jab at me?
No. We always say that.
Oh, okay.
We said that for we used to say that for the D&D episode, and then we said it for the short film.
Nice.
Yeah. We said we're gonna get T-shirts made that say eventually, or it's gonna come out eventually.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, Justin, John, thanks so much. One, for helping us with our film, The Body, and then also agreeing to work on our next film we're planning on doing.
And for coming out here and doing this episode as well.
Yeah, no,
it's giving us so much of your time.
Yeah, no, it was fun, guys. I appreciate it.
And then if you ever do another short film, let us know
after I release this one. But no, absolutely. There's a lot of stuff.
More ideas already.
Oh, I have so much stuff. It's bad, but it's good at the same time.
Yeah, you just gotta execute on them.
I know.
But yeah, this was a lot of fun. Appreciate you guys coming on. Again, we post new full episodes of our podcast every Monday and Thursday, so be sure to check those out. Hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any of our content. Where else are we, Andrew?
We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify. Make sure to give us those 5-star Spotify ratings because it helps other people discover the show. Letterboxd, our short film's on there as well. You can check out the short film itself on YouTube. But yeah, the biggest thing, like I said earlier, make sure to share us with friends and family. We want to grow this community. We want to grow our subscriber base. And then you can join in our Discord for free. The link should be in the description of this episode. And you can join in on the conversation. Give us suggestions for episode topics. We normally follow up on those pretty fast. But that's just a great place to meet other movie lovers, this community that we're trying to build.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for watching. And that's a wrap.